Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dr. B, your Cajun Connection, coming to you with an unboxing tonight. I've been using a MacBook Pro for about 5 years, and I must say moving from the PC to the MacBook was an excellent move for me. Now that's for me. People are different. My old MacBook is still working fine, but it's beginning to show significant wear. So I decided to replace it. And when I started researching all the 2020 models, I saw two categories of YouTubers doing unboxing and giving their initial impressions of the machine. You had the professional tech folks with their emphasis on specs and on benchmarks, and you had the under 30 crowd with their emphasis on broad functionalities, desk setups, and choosing between space gray and silver for the most part. I kept thinking, well, don't old school OGs use MacBooks? And where are they? I could not find even one channel amid the sea of the under 30 crowd. So when I saw that, I decided to do something about it. I decided to do an old school OG unboxing when my new machine arrived. Well, today is that day. Now let me also mention the fact that I'm retiring from my duties as a high school principal. So why would I be unboxing a brand new 2020 13-inch MacBook Pro? Shouldn't I be unboxing a new fishing rod or a boat or a new set of golf clubs? Well, stick around. Some of those things may be coming in the very near future, especially an RV, looking at some RVs. But today it's all about the contents of the little box I have right here that will allow me to continue to be as productive and as creative as I want to be. So how does an old school OG unbox new tech? What am I looking for? Well, I'm looking for the same thing that everyone else is looking for. I'm looking for increased productivity and to maintain a presence on social media. Now, let's call this unboxing futuristic nostalgia, because we're going to look forward and back at the same time. And I'm going to talk about how the contents of this box meets the needs of someone who wants to stay in the game but is not a gamer. And then I will sprinkle in a little Barry White and a little Earth, Wind, and Fire and a lot of Michael Jackson and a little Gladys Knight in my comments for the nostalgic point of view. Okay? So yes, I'm delighted that this MacBook Pro has 512 gigabytes of SSD memory. As Al Green once said, love and happiness. That's what I'm experiencing here today because of 512. Now, that's up from my old Mac, which had 128 gigabytes of SSD. And with a couple of external hard drives, which I used all the time, I only pushed that capacity to about 50% of 128. So 512 is going to be more than adequate for my needs. And at the end of the day, it's all about what you need as opposed to what you think you want. Just because you got the cash to spend it, you don't have to blow your budget if you don't need to. And yes, I skipped that whole butterfly keyboard issue. So I never had to voice that as a personal complaint. Key travel for this machine, this 2020, should approximate my experience with my 2015 model, but with a more comfortable and luxurious feel. I'm really looking forward to how this keyboard is going to respond. My early 2015 Mac had a dual-core i5 2.9 processor, whereas this thing has an i7 with twice as many cores. which increases throughput. No doubt I'm going to be very pleased with the performance of it. This is going to run smoother for me, and it's going to be discernibly faster. Now look, let's be honest. I grew up fooling around with literal floppy drives, floppy disks. So these systems out of the box, to me, is like the difference between the speed of sound and the speed of light. So, I'm going to be just pleased as punch. I know that. So that's that. And since I'm not a big time multitasker, I use Safari, which draws much less CPU than Chrome. I feel comfortable with this, with 8 gigs of RAM. Now I know lots of people really want to spend their budget on RAM, and that's actually a good thing because it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it, right? Well, yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. But I think 8 gigs is a sweet spot for me, for my rather routine workload, which is generally having a couple of open tabs, playing Chaka Khan, and maybe the Bar K's on Apple Music, maybe a little Gladys Knight, while working on maybe Google Doc or editing a file in LumaFusion. But I'm a simple man. Okay, and when YouTube algorithms suggest the Ohio players, I click no matter what else is or however many tabs are open. Remember, some people just can't refuse "Heaven Must Be Like This" or "Skin Tight." Do you remember those songs? Of course you don't. If you're under 40, 50. Now, I've always been glad Apple has decided not to have touchscreens. I much rather a touch bar. I'm looking forward to that experience. I also have never been a fan of hybrid systems where you have a laptop that converts into a tablet. Don't really care for that. I especially don't care for the wobble caused by users touching and smudging up the screen. That said, I'm really looking forward to the touch bar. And despite many complaints and many negative comments about it and many negative reviews, I hope my experience meets and exceeds my expectations, which are modest. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to reporting on that. Now, the screen should be brighter and more vibrant than my 2015 with 500 as opposed to 400 nits. That's a solid gain, especially for me, because to me, it's all about the screen and the keyboard. That's my experience. Well, the last point I want to mention before I use my Benchmade Crooked River knife to open this package, I'm going to have to do a review of this gorgeous tool in another video. We're going to take a look at this. So here we go. Let's get this boy open here, and let's see what this is going to look like. Now, I've seen so many of these unboxings, so the experience is pretty predictable. But let's take a look at one from the perspective of an old school user. Throw that away. And so far, so good. The pull tab here. Beautiful. I just love the way Apple packages these products and their products so consistently. The quality control at Apple factories must be off the chain. It's got to be. because opening these products is such a rewarding experience. It's actually worth the price of admission. Look at that. Here's the pull tab. Let's set this aside. This aside, of course, for right now. And here we have all the paperwork, all the legal mumbo jumbo. We just toss that aside and get that out the way. Power adapter, a little larger than the one I use on my 2015, which is 60 watts. This is 61. And a USB-C to USB-C power cord. Now I really like that change from the old Thunderbolt 2. This USB-C or Thunderbolt 3 is the most powerful and versatile port ever. Put that aside. And here it is. I'm so glad I went with space gray. I was tempted to purchase silver again because I like the contrast between the black keys and the silver body. But this looks more executive and less artsy. And of course we remove this protective sleeve. There we go. My goodness. The aesthetic is just unbelievable. This thing is stunningly beautiful. And just open it and remove the liner. And of course it comes on automatically, like magic. And so here it is, and I'm really looking forward to working with this touch bar. Well, this is Dr. B. I am your Cajun Connection, admiring the MacBook Pro 2020. Like Montel Jordan once said, this is how we do it. Unboxing this tech-tabulous Mac. And we'll see you in the next video.